All right, I wanted to get this down while it is fresh because, again, it comes down to communication. And I want to have you consider the number one thing that is keeping you from the life that you desire, the relationships that you desire, is lack of learning to communicate in a healthy and direct way. So many times people are afraid of hurting feelings, or they just go all out and do hurt feelings without caring. So I had about a 25-minute conversation. It was just the other day with an individual, and they had made a commitment, and then they broke the commitment. And when I followed up with them to say, hey, well, what happened? We set this up for you. You seemed very excited. We actually created a spot for you, and you wanted to sit in to learn, and then you no-showed. This person said, well, I went there, but then I was asked to leave. And I said, well, who asked you to leave? And he shared the information. I said, okay. I said, well, first of all, what was the interaction? He goes, well, he said, nobody wants you here, so I left. And so the very first thing is getting the data or the facts as opposed to making up the story that you hear up here. So I took a minute. I said, wait a minute, someone told you you're not wanted here? And he goes, well, no, they didn't say it like that. They just said that we've got coverage and you don't need to be here. So that's where little red lights started going off all over, saying, okay, first of all, I'm so glad you mentioned the facts. We want to look at the facts, not my truth, not what I think I heard, not the story, but the facts. The fact was someone said, oh, we got it covered. We don't need you here. And the person heard, we don't want you here. So once we uncovered that, I said, well, what was the follow-up afterwards? And he said, there was no follow-up. I just went ahead and left, and I'm so angry at him. Well, what are you angry at? He said, well, the fact that he said, well, we don't need you here. And I said, well, the way you're telling me with the context, well, we don't need you here. Did he say it that way? Did he say, we don't need you here? And he took a step back again and went, no, he actually, it was, and here's a key. I said, it's called a diphthong. Did he move down? We don't need you here. Or we don't need you here. Notice how when you go up, it sounds like a question. You go down, it sounds authoritative or like a statement. When I brought that up, he actually wasn't aware. He goes, gosh, I don't even know. And I said, well, knowing the individual who said this to you, I doubt there was any intention to hurt you or that they don't like you. But let's say that's what you sense and what you picked up on. What is the harm, or what do you think would happen if you said, you know what, I'm feeling like maybe you don't want me here right now? And I call this external processing. If there's anything you get from this video or any videos, it would be really identifying how to do external processing. What that means is basically it's just thinking out loud with the other person. So in this example, this person didn't externally process, they internally processed, projected all these unspoken expectations, and left angry and pissed off at someone who's actually on their side, in their corner, on their team. I don't know about you, but how many times have we done this with our significant other? We forget they're on my team, they're on my side, they're in my corner, but we create these stories and we just totally launch them on them with all these unspoken expectations. So as we actually played the tape forward with what could have happened, we started to role play, and this is huge. I have a group of individuals. There's actually 9 guys who I role play with every single week. Anything that's uncomfortable, any place I'm attacking myself or creating these crazy stories and attaching meanings that aren't necessarily there, I will role play with these guys to help work through before I go back to the real field, if you will. And so as we started to role play, it was so awesome seeing him start to melt the stories away. And instead of going to weapons and saying this person didn't want me there, of being able to observe feelings while externally processing. So it looked something like this. So when the person first heard that or said that of, we don't want you here, even though later he said, well, that's not what he said. It seems like you don't want me here, or am I just kind of reading into that? That's external processing. So as we role played, I said, you be the guy who shut you down and I'll be you. And so when I said that back, he goes, oh, actually, no. We've got a bunch of staff here and we have all the bases covered, so we don't need you here. So that's where, knowing what his desired outcome was, I was able to say, okay, good, because I'm not here as a staff right now. I'm here to just simply sit in and to learn and to be a part of this process so I can learn and grow individually myself. What do you think he would have said back? Oh, well, a lot of people are angry at you right now, don't want you in there. That's what he came back with. Okay. Oh, shoot. Do you know what with and how we can address this openly? Because I certainly want to know if I'm doing stuff to piss people off and I'm not even aware. I really would like to become aware so I can at least own it if I need to and address it in an open form so we can figure this out. And the feedback he gave me was, oh, I didn't think about that. So the whole point of this video and why I'm going over this, why it's fresh in my head, is to utilize these tools real time, because as you begin to master them, communication actually becomes fun. This is going to sound weird, but I actually like getting into heated disagreements with my wife. Isn't that crazy? The me like 3 or 4 years ago would have never said that. For those of you that know me, I'm a stuffer. Someone comes at me with weapons, oh, no problem, doesn't hurt, stuff down, leave, and then I can stuff a ton and then eventually blows up and then I go ballistic. Nobody likes that, doesn't help anybody. So when a person comes at me with weapons, well, actually, I'm trying to think of the last one. It's been a good week or two. I remember I was so pissed at my wife. I'm drawing a blank right now. So I'm just going to shoot from the hip. Anytime that happens and I feel my wife's attacking me, I'll usually say something like this. I'll say, ouch, honey, did you mean for that to hurt? Just that one statement. Ouch, honey, did you mean for that to hurt? I can't think of a single time where she said, yes, burn, mother lover, right? She's always like, no, I don't mean it like that. I just mean you're not, or whatever it is that she's wanting me to. So first of all, by being an observer of feelings, oh, I'm feeling attacked, I'm feeling hurt, and then externally processing, crap, that hurt. Did you mean for that to hurt? Now, if she said yes, then we can go into something else. You can reply in here and we can role play that. But most of the time it's no, I didn't mean to. Oh, okay. Did I do something to piss you off or offend you that I'm not even aware of? Now, for those guys in here, you may be familiar with this one. I'm not going to tell you if you don't know. You should know. Did that one ever piss you off? I remember, that one used to get me huge. I'm not going to tell you, you should already know. But once I began to own all my crap, once I began to let the ego go and say, I don't need to know everything, and I don't care if I look like a total dumbass. In fact, the more of a dumbass I look like, usually, the more my wife loves on me. So if I do something and it seems to piss her off, I'm like, I think I just did something to piss you off, honey. I'm not even aware of it. How slow of a learner am I? You'd think 13 years in a marriage, I figured this stuff out, but I'm still working on it. Hun, help me out. What did I do? And then she'll say, you didn't close the door right afterwards and lock it like I like you to, or whatever it is. And I go, crap, you're right. Now, old me would argue, I don't need to lock the door. You're not my boss. And then I am totally disconnected and don't have the relationship that I want. But instead of going, oh, that's right, you have said that you like the door locked right when we walk in, and it's a certain way, she likes the deadbolt, not the lower one. That's irrelevant, but for some reason I thought I'd throw it in there. But now that I know that's what she likes, guess what? I do what she likes. And now she feels safe, secure, and more importantly, she feels heard and understood. So this works not just in work relationships, not just with friendships, but with our intimate relationships. And the more we can connect with the person that we're intimate with, the more they want to love on us and just be a part of us and get to experience us and vice versa. I'm telling you this, I wish I learned this in high school and college, but I didn't. I had to go through decades of pain and figure out what worked and what didn't work and why now we teach this stuff. Because when there is a breach or a broken communication, it leads to weapons used. We go back to conviction and resentments and all sorts of stuff. But when we don't use our weapons, now, the whole goal is to get to a point where anyone else can use their weapon against you. And you do the work so much in depth every single day. You've got thousands and thousands, if not tens of thousands of repetitions that a person can come at you. It makes me think of, I think it's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, where the guy comes out with the double knives and going crazy and is like the ultimate knife guy and does all this stuff, and Indy just sits there, and as soon as he's done, he pulls out the gun, just goes boom, and walks away. It's like that. I don't have to have all these weapons and engage in this thing. It's just kind of like, oh, it looks like this is what you're wanting. Okay, not a problem. For those of you that have been in my groups, remember the Indian exercise that we did? I think it's the push game, where if I hold my hand out and say, okay, you push as hard as you can, I'm gonna lock my arms, and the first person to move loses, every time people would slam me, I would fly across the room. I remember one big dude launched me across the room, like, touche, you won that one. But then I came back in and said, now watch what happens once I learn. And then I go ahead and let him push into me, and I absorb all the friction, and he fell right into me, and I was able to just hug him. Hopefully some of you guys in this group was there for that. But the reason why that's such an important and imperative exercise to remember is when a person runs to push you or steamroll you, instead of standing there and blocking, no, you can't, or I'm going to push you, you either get hurt, they either get hurt, or you both get hurt. But when I absorb it all, because I've done the work, I absorb it all, I can actually bring them in to hug them, and I win. So I'm gonna finish with this. Where in your life can you work on communication to actually hear and understand so the person feels heard and better understood, as opposed to reverting back to old tactics? And I'm telling you, as you learn to master communication, and there's a 4-step process, if you remember, that we taught in group. If not, no worries, drop a line in the comments, what we can go over in here. But once you learn to master that, it's incredible at how connected you can become with other people, even strangers, even people that may initially want to intentionally show you up or make you look like a fool. But because you stand your ground and you are certain that I'm going to connect with this person, that they lay their weapons down and actually submit to the process. It only takes one to stop fighting.